So it's snowing again. I don't know if you can see it, but this alleyway kind of reminds me of like Cowboy Bebop with Spike running down. It's like 5:50 in the morning, and I really needed to find somewhere to go to the restroom. Let me tell you, it's a lot harder to find spaces in the city. I really liked like Riverside was easier. I don't know, just a lot more open space with bushes and Joshua trees that you could kind of like go behind, and it felt better. It was in nature, but the city is different. It's a lot harder to find spots to relieve yourself. But surprisingly, I haven't had too much of a difficulty. I have to say, I don't regret dating Richard because he taught me a lot. He did. He taught me so much. I still pray that he can fix his life and live a well life. I still pray. I know that I'm just gonna say that I still pray that he has a long life and evolves, gets some enlightenment, heals himself up. It's like the demons are in him. But I mean, since he's a clone, maybe they really are. He's just a fragmented soul now. It's really sad. I hope his next lifetime, if he is still here, it's a lot less karmic. But going back, I learned a lot. I'm trying to remember what he taught me. I think it was if I go to the dollar store, and he had no shame. He always stole. He didn't care. But I'm not going to steal. But he would go to the dollar store, and he told me like those smelly things for the cars. I think it was those. If you burn them, like they burn all night, and you can keep yourself warm all night. I think those are what he was telling me about. And I'm like, man, I should do that. But I also remember him talking about he would get the tuna cans, and he was like, you can burn that all night and it burns blue or something like that. I think it's like the fat, and it burns blue all night. And I think that's what he was telling me, and I do miss him. This being in this environment, reminds me of him a lot. Being targeted, I get it. A lot of the people were monitored the minute they came into my life and given hundreds of dollars a day or thousands of dollars a month, to partake in shutting up or screwing me over. I understand that, but there's some aspects that no matter how much you try to manipulate a situation or circumstances for somebody, I don't think the CIA and FBI really understood the depth of human communities. This not on the sociological scale, but I mean on a psychological, on a one-on-one scale. I don't really like to talk to groups of people. I prefer talking to people one-on-one. It's easier, because I can put all my attention into that person. I can observe every aspect of them if I choose. If you're talking to groups of people, if your attention is one way, it's harder, to be able to read everybody in the room. And since I do like to give myself the illusion that I know everything that's going on, because it makes me feel safe, I just like to deal with one-on-one people. It's coming down hard, man. I don't know if you can see it all up on me. Yeah, you can see it all up. Ah, man, look at this. It's gonna be rough with all this snow. But I did miss snow. Not gonna lie, I did miss it. It's a nice new memory right now, to be honest. I've never been in New Jersey before today, not to my knowledge anyway. Well, before the last couple days, before the last week. So it is a new memory. I'm in New Jersey, never been here. I'm in Elizabeth, the name of my cat, my girl. I hope she's okay because her fang fell out. I know she has a lot of tartar. My poor babies. And it's snowing, and I've missed snow. So this is a nice new memory. It's a very different one because I'm homeless. Thanks to Kash Patel's, what do you call it? Central Intelligence Agency, using microchips to transmit ideas into my head that mimic or that attempt to mimic, God to skull, voice to skull, God voice, whatever that they try to say. I remember one of my buddies, Tony, in Arizona and Phoenix. They call it a chatterbox for targeted individuals. It's a chatterbox where they constantly hear something. I told Tony, I said, why don't you put something in your ears? One of the way that they get you with the voice to skull, a lot of the voice to skull technology is at least two, so they can pulsate audio frequencies. So they pulsate one to create a sensitivity and the other one to infiltrate. And then whoever is your handler or performing the experiment of voice to skull creates a script or has a script that they say to you. It's usually a degrading script, like you're trash, you're nothing, you're worthless, and ha ha ha, we RAPE'd your wife and we killed your kids, just horrible things that they say. And I remember when my first community finally of the TIs, when I got to Phoenix and I got to meet Constance and Tony and Chris and a couple others. Tony had a chatterbox. And he'd be cool for a minute. And then he'd get real quiet. Because the chatterbox would be so loud, so persistent in his head. He had to focus so much to maintain his sanity. These kinds of human experiments are not right. They're not. For me, they didn't really focus on voices in my head, and I don't know if it's just because I already have a voice in my head. Like, I speak to myself with a voice in my head. I didn't do that when I was younger. And then as more isolated they made me, I guess it was kind of like I made myself my own friend. So I started talking to myself in my head. I heard my own voice. I still hear my own voice in my head. I can shut it off if I want to. Which I think is sometimes better because then they can't really accentuate what I'm saying to myself. But that's what they use, that silence. They put a chatterbox inside to tell you things, sometimes imitating your own voice to make you think you're saying it. This type of psychological human warfare on unsuspecting civilians, this is not right. It's tyranny, and it's treason to do this on your own people. And I'm not saying every country, every country is at fault. Every country has blood on their hands doing to their own citizens. But I'm going to speak specifically about about America, because that's where I'm at and that's where it's happening for me. But I will talk about in Japan, there's over 23 provinces that have targeted individuals as well. Germany, there's so many. Norway, Chile, Spain. Too many. But there's a patent there's like, I think there's about 10, maybe 14 voice to skull, ventriloquism um, devices that they've created. The ventriloquism is really classy. It goes, it's another audio, but it's a perception. It'll make somebody around you say something pertaining to what your handler wants you to hear, and that person won't even realize that they're saying it. And it's because they're not supposed to. It's a subliminal message to their brain. And that's why we get so many people that walk around us that'll say something about our daily life or about what we're wearing, or they'll say our name, and we'll be like, how do they know? How did they know we're here? Well, they're also using HAARP. They're using HAARP for, so many different types of experiments. And HAARP can cover a broad range, miles of manipulation. People don't realize this has been going on for 70 years. And in the 1990s, when nanotechnology came out, now you've got smaller technology, which means you can get millions of little miniature lasers, if they wanted to, that are redirecting this directed energy weapon technology at all of us. Millions. That's why there were 2 million people on the terrorist screening database last year. And when Anna Toledo took the FBI, the CIA, and other agencies to court about being on the terrorist screening database, and then them closing up Quiet Skies and the TSA, it went down to 288,000 people. If the government was so quick to take off 2 million people, give or take, I don't feel like doing the math, then obviously they weren't meant to be on the terrorist screening database to begin with. How were they able to take off so many people? And the people that are still on the list are chosen ones. They're people like myself who have a very direct connection with this 3-dimensional reality and the way that it was created. We are all made in the image of God, regardless of what religion you want to choose to believe. Your creator or creators, whichever you choose to believe, you're made in their image, are you not? Now the belief, if we're made in their image, why are we not able to do as they did if we're made in their image? We are capable. That is the hidden knowledge that is being kept from us. Whether you want to believe in Jesus Christ, whatever, Christ consciousness, the consciousness of the gods, lives in us. Our minds are powerful. We are capable of many things. But the FBI, the CIA, the government that wants to control us doesn't want us to know this, because they won't be able to control what they want anymore. And this is what we need to awaken to. That is the key. Elevating your perception in your mind. Living right for yourself. You are your temple. You are the temple that you worship God in. Take care of your temple while it is here. And you will be able to find different levels of clarity in your mind. It's so much more in depth. And I'm not the only one preaching it. There's so many people before me, before I even started talking about it right now. Please open your minds, people. Not just the Western culture, all, everywhere. Every nation, every city, every tribe, every dynasty, whatever you want to call your group of people. Open your minds. Let's look back to see how the monks live and how they're capable of disciplining their bodies to create heat, to localize heat in their hands. That is a manifestation. Magicians. Yeah, we can talk about sorcery and all that, but magicians. Some magicians use the art of illusion, which can be created.